I could go around the world, finest diamonds, precious pearls, they'd all turn to dust in my hand. 7 wonders, city streets, ocean air and mountain peaks, they are not the finest in the land. Much more than these I have seen firsthand. 'Cause there ain't nothing, there ain't nothing, there ain't nothing like coming home to you. And no matter where I go, and no matter what I do, there ain't nothing like coming home to you.
Well, this is our cabin for the next 3 nights. What do you think, buddy? What do you think? Do you like the cabin? Do you like it a lot? Yeah.
Like coming home to you.
Well, it ended up being a pretty rough night last night. Noah didn't take too well to the new cabin and cried pretty much all night long. So we woke up pretty exhausted this morning. But anyways, that's the way it goes with the little one. So we are staying just outside of New Braunfels, Texas on the Guadalupe River. And we're staying on a stretch of the river that the Texas Parks and Wildlife Department stocks with trout every year. So it's our time of the year to pretend like we live in the mountains and go down to the river and try to catch some trout on the fly. So that's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna walk down to the river right now. I haven't checked it out yet. I'm gonna see what the conditions are, see if it's wadeable or if I can get my kayak down there. I did bring my kayak, so we're in a location where we're right in between 2 release spots. So I could paddle upriver or downriver and get pretty close to where they're releasing. And in fact, I think they're doing another release today. So I've never done this before. I hear it's kind of tricky to catch these trout sometimes. They're hatchery raised trout, so they're not wild trout. So I don't think there's gonna be any match the hatch kind of thing going on this morning. My plan of action is to throw something that looks generic. I'm going to start with an olive colored woolly bugger and then maybe even some kind of a salmon egg pattern if that doesn't work, something that looks like fish food. So I'm going to walk down the river and check it out and see what it looks like. Well, we do have river access from our cabin, but it requires crawling down this hill, which isn't too big of a deal for me, but it might be kind of tough with my kayak. So I'm not sure I'm going to put my kayak in here. I might just wade it from here. It's pretty deep in spots, but there's also some shallow spots that I think I can kind of navigate and get up and down the river. Or I can just push the kayak down the hill and see how it goes. Well, as you can see, I've decided to wade. I think it's a little bit easier to wade this first and kind of check out the conditions. And not too far from where I crawled into the river, I actually just found a whole bunch of trout. I tied on this olive colored woolly bugger, and I'm gonna give it a fair shot. And if that doesn't work, I'll tie something else on. But pretty cool, finding trout already. Guys, I can see a nice trout right there. There's several of them. See if I can get this fly right in front of his face and see if he'll eat it. Didn't take it on that one. Let's try this one. I'm throwing at them, but they are not interested. Do you have a taker? Nope. All right, guys, well, here's what I've learned so far. I've learned that there's more trout in here than I thought there were. They're everywhere. I had no idea it was quite like this. I mean, as soon as I stepped off of that little dock, I found trout, and I'm still finding trout. And I tell you, I found this pool full of pretty good sized trout, and I haven't left it all morning. I should probably move on and try another hole. But here's what I figured out so far. I've been sight casting to these trout, and if I strip this woolly bugger pretty quickly and aggressively, I've had two of them follow it, and one of them hit it. And I just didn't get the hook set on him. This is already more exciting than I thought it might be, so if nothing else, it's fun sight casting at these trout. We don't get to do that in Texas very often. This is one of my all-time favorite rivers. The limestone causes the water to have a turquoise color, and it is just gorgeous. And it's pretty unique to Texas with these cypress trees that line the banks. It's just a neat little ecosystem. I think wade fishing was definitely the way to go. It's a little shallow for the kayak. I could make it happen, but I would have to get out and drag it pretty often. I think I'm just as mobile on my feet as I would be in the kayak. So I'm having to get used to the old fly rod again. Let me show you what I've got. So I've got this 6-weight moonshine rod that I really like. This thing was super affordable, and as far as I can tell, it's high quality. And then I picked up this Orvis Clearwater reel. And it's really affordable, but high quality stuff. So for someone like me that only fly fishes a few times a year, it's perfect. You know, I'm using it mostly for bass fishing or sunfish or cichlids, things like that. So for just kind of poking around these rivers and streams here in Texas, it's perfect. With this limestone riverbed, you get these big, almost crevices between the limestone rocks, and it creates these nice deep pockets for these trout to hang out in. And I'm not seeing those here as much. This is all just kind of sand and gravel, where up there near our cabin it was limestone. So I'm gonna walk back over there and keep on trying. Every time I feel a rock, I set the hook and end up catching it. Well, I've been fishing for a few hours now, and I've only had that one bite earlier this morning. I'm not even seeing them anymore like I was. So what I've learned so far is it seems like they like it in between these strips of limestone. So far, my pattern is look for deep holes, cast it in front of their face, and strip it fast. This is one of my favorite ways to fish, though. You know, coming to a fishery that you're not all that familiar with and trying to piece everything together. It's like solving a puzzle, you know? And when you finally catch something, it's so much more rewarding, especially on a fly rod. Well, I've been down in the river for a couple of hours now, and if anything, it's slowed down. I'm not seeing the fish like I was this morning. So I'm gonna take a little break, get a bite to eat, maybe even drink a cold beer. See what Kelsi and Noah are up to. Hi! Where are you going? Did you have a good nap?
Yes.
Good.
Daddy.
Hi, buddy. What do you think?
Huh?
Are you going to catch some fish with me soon?
Yeah.
Good. Mwah. Well, I ended up taking the afternoon off to take Noah to a drive-through safari and let him see the animals and feed the animals. That was pretty cool. And then I stopped in at a fly shop and talked to the guy there, see if I could pick up some pointers from him. And he told me I ought to throw kind of a dropper rig, drop an egg pattern underneath my woolly bugger about 8 inches or so below. So let me show you what I've got here. So I've got the woolly bugger, and then tied onto the woolly bugger I've got an egg pattern. Well, day one is not looking too good. We'll catch a trout. I'm not gonna give up. Hey Noah,
What?
are you gonna sleep tonight? I sure hope so. Alright guys, it is day 2, and there are people everywhere, which is not too surprising with it being Saturday morning. But that spot that I found Friday morning is just covered up. I switched flies. I tied on a black woolly bugger. I think I need to give these fish a little more credit than I originally did. They're a little more difficult to catch than I thought they would be. Alright guys, well I took a break and ate some breakfast and had a cup of coffee, and I'm getting back on the river now. I think it's about 10 o'clock in the morning. Alright, I'm getting a little more technical now. Maybe these trout are smarter than I thought they were. So what I'm doing now is something that I used in Colorado this summer that worked pretty well. I've got this chubby Chernobyl dry fly that'll act as a dry fly and an indicator, and then below it I've got a dropper rig with this nymph. So, man, we'll give that a shot. This has been pretty tough. Dang, I just saw a fish come up after that leaf. Alright, so I've changed up my rig again. Alright, so on the very end I've got that little black and green nymph. Alright, and then about 3 feet up from it, 2.5 feet maybe, I've got this egg pattern. There's my little egg, just a little white egg with an orange dot on it. Okay, and then up from it, about 1 foot, I've got a little split shot to help get that egg down in the water column where I want it. And then about 2 feet up from it, I've got my indicator. And the indicator will allow me to slide it up and down and adjust my water depth as I go. So, getting even more technical than the old woolly bugger this morning. There are people everywhere. Look at, we got like 4 boats down there. There we go, finally. That's crazy, guys. You know what? It's a carp. I'll take it.
Those are suckers.
Okay.
It looks like a carp. You got them down.
Yes.
Yeah, it's called a Redhorse Sucker. Those are like native to the Guadalupe River. It's good luck.
Really?
Yeah.
A sucker, huh?
Yeah.
I've never seen one. Well, cool. Hey, I caught something.
Yeah.
I will take this, guys. Huh, new fish for me. This is a sucker. I will take it.
Very cool. A sucker. Okay. You hit the nymph. Hey, I didn't get skunked. Well, I'm not sure why, but everyone just left. It's Saturday evening and I've got this whole stretch to myself right now.
Well, that's the end of day 2. Still no trout. I did catch that one sucker fish, which was pretty cool. You know, it was a fish I've never seen before. It kind of showed me that my rig is at least working, and it wiped the skunk off. I don't have to go home saying that I didn't catch any fish. So I'll probably get up in the morning and try again one more time before we head out. I gotta say, I'm pretty humbled by this. You know, I fully expected to be able to come in here and just catch a few at least, be able to figure them out, but I don't know. I definitely don't have them figured out. Well, good morning, everyone. It is our final morning here at the Guadalupe, so I've got about an hour until I need to get back up to the cabin and start packing up and get checked out. So I'm going to run down to the river real quick and give it one more shot, see if I can pull a trout out in the last hour. So here we go. All right, with my last 30 minutes or so, I'm going to try something that I haven't tried yet, and that is throwing a clouser minnow. So I tied on this real light colored clouser. I don't know, it's the one thing I haven't tried. Let's give it a shot. You want to say hi?
I love
You're getting good at talking to the camera. Well, that's it for our river fishing weekend. I have to give these trout more credit than I originally did. It turns out they are a little more difficult to catch than I thought they might be. I put in about 2 days trying to hook into one. I tried 6 or 7 different rigs on the fly rod, and I just never connected to one. I caught the one sucker fish, so it wasn't a complete skunk, but man, I really wanted to hook into one of those trout. But it just didn't happen for me. I'm a little frustrated, a little bummed, but that's the way it goes. You know, if it was easy every time, then I would probably lose interest. So I learned a lot of things, and for those of you who might want to come out here and try this on the Guadalupe, I'll just tell you what I learned. There's lots of different establishments up and down this river road, different campsites and little lodges and restaurants and grocery stores, and most of them will let you park in their parking lot if you pay them $10, and then you can just walk down into the river. So that's, you know, accessibility to the river right there. So what I would do is get on Google Earth, find you a spot with lots of deep holes, and then find you a place where you can park, pay your $10 to park there for the day, and then get out and just wade. You know, what I learned is look for the holes and throw a nymph rig, fish the early mornings and the evenings, and afternoons if you can find some shade. Man, if there's somebody out there that has had some success catching these trout in the Guadalupe, man, give me some tips. Feel free to leave a comment and tell me what you did and how you figured it out, because I definitely want to come back and try this again. So that's all I've got for this video. So as always, if you enjoyed it, go ahead and click that subscribe button. Give it a like. I put out a new video every Tuesday. We'll see y'all later.